Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Em. Some of you might remember me from when I streamed on Twitch, but if you don't know me yet, it is nice to meet you. I've been wanting to upload to YouTube for a long time now, but I never felt quite ready, and honestly, I still don't feel entirely ready, but I thought I would take the leap anyways, so here I am. Before I talk a little bit about this painting, I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of give you a rundown on who I am and what I'm up to and yada yada yada, you know, a little bit of background. My name is Emerson, but most people call me Em, duh. I'm a traditional and digital artist, but I also have an excruciatingly long list of other hobbies that just keep growing. And I'm sure they will find their way onto this channel eventually. I am a lover of coffee shops. And I mean like those super cozy, like local coffee shops with the couches and you can just kind of tuck yourself into a little corner and it's not too bright or anything. And you just like put your head down and get into whatever you're doing and you can just space out for hours. Those are the kinds of coffee shops that I'm talking about. But I sometimes end up in a Starbucks, but specifically talking about those amazing little local coffee shops. Absolutely my favorite. I also love plants. I am a big plant person who isn't nowadays. I feel like the pandemic kind of turned us all into plant parents. But I have a few plants sitting behind me and I need more because there's not nearly enough. I need a garden. I need more house plants. Basically, I'm just kind of plant crazy. So, you know, that will probably be a recurring theme here. And I also love video games, specifically like cozy games. I mean, I play them all. I have played, you know, like Doom and Call of Duty and things like that. And I love those games. I really do. They have a special place in my heart. But for whatever reason, the last like year and a half, I've just been into these like cozy kind of farming and cute little creatures and build your own civilization of cute little creatures, things like that. That is what I'm super into right now. And by the way, Ooblets just released today on the Switch, and I've been playing that in early access for like a really long time. And if you guys are into cozy games that are like farming and adorable, Ooblets, they just released 1.0. So just saying, just putting it out there. I wanted to talk a little bit about art, obviously, since this is an art video, but specifically about my experience with art, especially growing up. So like any other artist, right? I've been making art since I was a kid, but I was always more of the crafty artist and less of the drawing and painting kind because growing up, I had a cousin who was referred to as the artist of the family, and I kind of assumed that meant it was pointless for me to try and do drawing and stuff when I was very clearly not anywhere near as good as she was. So instead, I got my feet wet with art by like crafting things for people. And one of my favorite projects that like just has stuck in my head for all these years was making the Great Big Book of Everything for my little brother's like 6th or 7th birthday. I need to know if anybody else remembers this show though, because I swear that every time I talk about it, people look at me like I'm describing a fever dream. I cannot be the only one who like remembers this show. It was, right? I mean, come on. Does anybody else remember this? Please, tell me if you remember this. I cannot be the only one. Anyways, the point is that I made very cool, albeit poorly held together, things like that. Eventually I picked up like crochet and cross stitching and embroidery and chainmail jewelry and what else? Other like all kinds of like handy crafty things, you know, like I even tried to make a bow, like an archery bow, and that did not go over very well. But the point is, I tried. But, okay, through all of that, right, all of the being crafty and whatnot, I would always come back to drawing and painting. But unfortunately, I am not the most patient person in the world. So when things didn't fall out of my head onto the paper exactly as I imagined it, I would just give up and move on to something new. So anything that I was like, oh man, that's cool, instead of buying the thing, which is like what most reasonable people would do, I would try to learn how to make it. And I am still broke as a result of these hobbies. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. It wasn't really until 2019, so 3 years ago, like right before the pandemic started, that I sat down and I was like, you know what? I want to draw. Like, I want to actually draw. I don't want to just sit down every few months or every couple of years and just kind of blah onto the paper and then get mad that it's not what I want it to be. I want to like actually sit down and make myself make more art, and as a result kind of study and figure things out. So that is what I did, and that's what I have been doing since 2019. So even though I've been making art since I was a kid, really I haven't been taking it seriously until like a few years ago, which I regret now, right? Obviously, because I'm like older and I'm out here painting things, and then like a 16-year-old puts out a masterpiece and I'm like, okay, well, okay. But that's besides the point, right? Because I am doing it now, and that's okay. It could have taken me another 20 years to actually get started. So I'm still learning because I am impatient, but I am still learning to just be happy with where I'm at and where I'm going. So let's talk a little bit about this painting now that you know a little bit about me. And if you have any other questions about me, I guess, or anything that I talked about, just put them down in the comments and I would be more than happy to answer them for you. And yeah, okay, so let's get on with what you are here for, which is this painting. And one of the things that I did with this painting is use my tools. And what I mean by that is I did plenty of copy, paste, and flip, which is something that I don't normally let myself do because it feels like cheating. And like, I know it's not, right? The tools are there for a reason, use them. But for whatever reason, especially when it comes to eyes, whenever I try to do the copy, paste, flip the eye thing, it stresses me out because I'm like, oh my God, I'm not a real artist. I didn't draw the other eye, which is so dumb. I know. But also I'm like terrified that I'll do eyes like that digitally and then I won't be able to draw eyes on a piece of paper. So I still try not to do that. I think I did do that with this drawing though. I think it was like all about the copy, paste, flip situation. But especially for things like her crown, if I had not copy and pasted, no, that crown was, and I don't regret it at all because it just like, looking at her and then something popped in my head and I was like, God, you know what would be so freaking cool is if there was just like an Art Deco sun type thing going on behind her. And that idea just stuck with me and I was like, that's what's gonna make this painting special. And so I don't regret putting it in there, but there were many times in the process that I do regret or did regret putting it in there. So this is a thing that I'm trying to learn, but I probably won't do it all the time because it still feels like cheating, but that's fine. One of the biggest challenges that I had for this painting was her hair, okay? I knew that I wanted her hair to be like coily, right? I wanted her hair to be coily. I didn't want it to be straight. And I know that the way that I kind of put it in and blocked in the shadows, it kind of looked like, oh, it's just going to be straight hair, especially because initially I had drawn out her bangs in a like weird, it looks funky for most of the process because I avoided doing her hair for a very long time. But I tried out a couple of different things. I wanted to keep it kind of in this graphic feel, I guess you could say, because I really loved doing this line work, and I wanted to keep that in there. And I didn't know how to do that without her hair feeling stiff and unnatural, and yeah, I don't know. But finally, when I had to sit down and focus on this painting, I found a brush that was like for, I think it's supposed to be used for like long flowy kind of hair. And I found that using that in like a coil type pattern created the perfect texture for her hair. And then I was able to go in with a brush that was like, it was a very textured brush. I think it's called gloaming, to do her actual coils and like have some coils actually stick out. And I am so happy with the way that her hair turned out. I'm so pleased. There were many times when I wanted to give up. And the hair was not the only place in which I was like, man, I'm gonna stop doing this painting. There were plenty of other places, but it turned out really great, and I'm very pleased with how the hair came out, and her robe, and just like the whole outfit. Actually, I mean, come on, and the nails and the ring. This is a piece of work that I will just stand forever because I'm so happy with the way that it turned out. And like, yes, I'm looking at this painting and I can see, you know, some anatomical mistakes and little bits and pieces here and there that I'm like, oh, I would change that, or I wouldn't. But this piece took me, I think like 2.5 weeks, because I kept running into problems with this piece that I was like, God, I don't know what to do here. I don't even know if I want to finish this painting. But I kept picking it back up, and I knew that it needed to be done because it was too precious not to finish. And it took me, I want to say like 2 or 3 days sitting at a coffee shop here. Yeah, local coffee shops. Sitting at a coffee shop here and just kind of putting my head down and getting to work to actually finish this thing. Because there were a lot of days where I would pick it up and like put a couple of strokes down and be like, nah, this is not it. So I know I didn't really talk a whole lot about the process. So I'm really sorry. I didn't really write anything for this part. Like, I thought I would just kind of wing it. I was like, oh, I'll just watch the speed paint as I'm talking and that will work out, and it kind of did, I guess. But if you have any questions about like the painting or a part of the process that you are curious about, like how I did the shadows, which I used hard light, was the layer, the layer, I don't know. Wow, I'm blanking. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, if you have questions like that or anything else, just put them in the comments below and I would be more than happy to answer them for you, because why the heck not? Let's have a little chat in the comments, and you can ask me questions and I can answer them, and then you can also tell me about a piece of art that you're like really proud of, even if it was like many years ago or something, because this is one of those pieces that I know is just going to stick with me for a long time, and I'm really happy about that. So thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out. If you made it to the end, wow, amazing. And I really appreciate you being here. So I will start uploading videos. I don't have a set schedule or anything yet. I kind of wanted this to be a fun, creative little thing, and this felt like the right time to start. So that's why I'm here. The last thing that I wanted to say was, you know, if you enjoyed this video, you know it's coming, please like and subscribe, because it would really help me out and hopefully get my content out to more people like you who enjoy this kind of thing. So I really appreciate any support, and I appreciate you hanging out around here for as long as you have. And I'm going to go ahead and stop talking now, and you can enjoy what's left of the video. Thank you. Bye.